Use the provided measuring spoon with a small heap on top for a consistent 2-gram measurement every time. Matcha turns bitter when mixed with water above 80 degrees Celsius. Since coffee boilers are usually too hot, we need to lower the temperature, and to cool it down quickly, add a splash of cold water before whisking, and this brings the temperature for a smooth, balanced taste. When adding water, just pour enough to cover the bottom of the bowl. Always aim for less water first because you can always add more. It's about 40 milliliters we're adding, because if you add too much, you will dilute matcha and weaken the flavor. Start with a small circular motions to dissolve the matcha evenly when whisking, and then switch to a quick zigzag motion from left to right to create a fine layer of microfoam. It would require about 20 seconds of whisking. Also, only use your wrist when whisking, don't engage your shoulder or elbow, and avoid pressing too hard because this can break the bristles and leave them in the matcha. This is the ideal consistency, smooth and frothy, and aerated for best taste. For warm matcha lattes, you first pour the matcha shot and then you top it off with the milk that was steamed. Also watch out that you don't burn your milk too much, because actually it can potentially burn matcha as well. And then for the iced matcha, you do the exact same thing as with coffee. You start with ice, you then add milk, and then you pour the matcha shot on top. If you're looking to add any syrups into the iced matcha, we recommend adding them at the very end. During busy shifts, batch brewing 5 shots at a time can improve efficiency, and a standard matcha bowl can hold up to 5 shots. So depending on the size of your squeezy bottle, expect around 2 to 220 milliliters of liquid matcha for 5 shots. So sifting is especially important in batch brewing since larger quantities make it easier to miss lumps. So always sift before whisking for a smoother result. When whisking a larger batch, gradually add hot water instead of pouring it all at once. Since you need to whisk vigorously to aerate matcha, adding water too quickly can cause it to splash out of the bowl, so adding it gradually keeps the process controlled and ensures an even consistency. Once matcha is whisked, carefully pour the matcha from the bowl into the squeezy bottle to avoid spills and ensure smooth transfer. Also, to slow down oxidation and maintain quality as much as you can, you always store the squeezy bottle in the fridge during your shift. Before using the matcha, always make sure that you shake the squeezy bottle well. Matcha is a suspension tea, and meaning the powder naturally settles over time, and shaking ensures an even texture. So for an iced matcha, add ice and milk first, then use the jigger to pour in the pre-measured matcha shot as the final step. For customers who are sitting in and ordering a hot matcha latte, you can always prepare it directly in their cup instead of using a separate bowl. So start by adding the correct amount of matcha directly in the cup, then pour in the hot water just enough to mix the matcha properly before adding milk. Then whisk the matcha in the cup using a circular motion first, then switch to zigzag motion to build froth and ensure an even consistency. And the matcha should be smooth and well aerated before adding milk. Finally, pour steamed milk over the matcha shot to create a perfectly blended warm matcha latte. Whenever you're done using matcha, make sure you always seal the pouch because matcha is very sensitive to light, heat, and moisture, or you close it in or whatever you use. When it comes to bamboo whisk maintenance, the main rule is that your whisk should be cleaned properly at the end of each shift. And the first thing that you do is that you can whisk it in a hot water to remove excess matcha from the whisk. Then rinse it under running hot water to ensure all matcha is removed, and you have to do so for about 20 seconds. Once that's done, put your whisk in a well-ventilated place and let it air dry. Last but not least, at the end of your shift, store the pouch in the fridge to keep it fresh.